Losing weight is hard work, but what makes it harder work is if you don't know why you're getting fatter in the first place. Research has shown that most people underestimate how much they eat by around 20%. According to one study, we might be getting fatter because we tend to massively underestimate how many calories are actually in our food. Amazingly, the more calorific our meals, the fewer we tell ourselves it actually contains. If you're looking at a small meal, we might underestimate by around 10%, and for larger meals, by up to 40%. We're all told that olive oil is heart healthy, but healthy foods can be a secret eating trap. If, like Jill, you like your snacks, you are not alone. We Brits love our crisps. We may know they're not good for us, but you know what? That doesn't stop us buying nearly 6 billion bags a year. We're eating more than ever before, nearly 166,000 tonnes last year. And if you've ever eaten one of the large 150-gram packs in one sitting, you need to know the calorie facts. The info on this label is for a 25-gram portion, even though this bag contains 6 times that amount. Chomp your way through this lot, and you'll have munched your way through a third of your daily calories. Jill's a classic mealtime magpie. The mealtime magpie's mantra is waste not, want not. Rather than see food go in the bin, they prefer to finish everything up. But by making a habit of picking, mealtime magpies will certainly be overeating. Even if you just snaffle an extra 10 calories a day from a friend's plate, you'll be a pound more portly in a year's time. Simple tips for a healthier breakfast include:
avoid using fat when cooking and grill things as much as possible. Trim the fat off bacon and go for a lower fat type of sausage. Have a poached egg instead of a fried egg and serve it with lots more vegetables such as baked beans, chopped tomatoes and grilled mushrooms.
If you binge too, try weighing yourself daily. It'll help you monitor any fluctuations after a wild weekend. If you're serious about getting back to the weight that you used to be and the woman you said you wanted to be, cut down on the snacking, cut down on the magpieing, and then hopefully you'll be able to shift that couple of stone that you want to get off. It all makes, when you look at it here, it all makes sense.
Yes, complete sense.
Filming started, she thought she was eating around 1,300 calories a day, but she was in denial because her daily average was actually a huge 3,106 calories. Now she's going to have to change her habits and aim for 1,500 calories a day in order to start losing some weight. Jill must cut out the sugary snacks, stop her magpie eating and curb the weekend blowouts. These simple changes will hopefully turn the tide and start the weight loss. A study has shown that if products are branded as lower in fat, we consume 50% more than people using the full fat alternative. Stuart's a one-meal wonder, consuming over 2/3 of his calories late at night. One-meal wonders are prone to weight gain, not because of the time of day they eat, but because hunger makes them overeat when they finally do have a meal. And eating just once a day could cause the metabolism to slow down, meaning the body clings onto calories when it finally gets food. To lose weight healthily, eat smaller meals more frequently, you'll feel fuller throughout the day, and it's less likely you'll overeat in one go. So if you just reduced the amount of butter or margarine that you're putting on your bread and reduce the amount of oil you put in your pan, you'd lose weight straight away. If you're fond of a pint, remember it's not just the calories in alcohol you need to worry about. It weakens the resolve, making it much more likely you'll ditch the diet and gorge on fatty foods. If Stuart cuts out booze completely, he could lose a massive 4.5 stone in a year. To keep his blood sugar on an even keel and to kickstart his weight loss, he'll need to space his calories out much better over the course of a day. He'll also need to cut down on all the extra fats and spreads and boost his intake of veg. Why is it we tend to overeat when it comes to snacks?
3 things. First of all, they are a high energy source. They have fat and they have sugar, and this means we get energy very, very quickly. Second, they're very convenient. You know, chocolate melts in your mouth, doesn't melt in your hand. Popcorn, small, easy things to pop in your mouth. You don't really have to think about it. And I think the third thing is that the elements of the fat and the sugar, which are very carefully engineered in a snack, will give your brain a kick. It will give you a sense of euphoria, a sense of delight. And so it's delight in a very small package, which is very, very easy to eat.
What can we do, David, to stop ourselves from doing that mindless eating?
You actually have to change the circumstances in which you eat. You have to notice what is triggering my snacking behaviour.
I find it very difficult, particularly if I come to the cinema, not to eat or drink something. How can we break this?
But there are things you can do. I see you're holding the bag in your right hand, and
Yeah.
you're going to therefore pick with your left hand. Try swapping hands. Try holding the bag in your left hand and then taking it with your right hand. And
doesn't
that
feel
will actually
right.
break the habit. And just by breaking the habit in a small way, you may well be able to break the habit entirely.
Can it really be that easy to break our snacking habit? We've invited 50 snackaholics along to take part in a popcorn eating experiment to put David's theory to the test.
When I come to the cinema, I eat more than usual, I'd say, definitely.
I think you eat so much because you just get into a rhythm. I think it almost just becomes a shoveling effect and you don't really think about what you're doing.
Half our audience will be allowed to eat normally, but the other half have been given oven mitts to wear on their dominant hand, the one they usually write and eat with. By using their non-dominant hand, this will force them to eat in a more conscious way, rather than munching on autopilot. At the end, we'll see whether using a different hand to eat makes a difference to the amount each group consumes. OK, those of you that have got an oven glove on their hand, raise a hand. OK, fantastic. Thank you, guys. To make sure our audience isn't too conscious of their eating, we've told them they're doing an experiment on memory, so they'll be focusing on the film rather than on the food. They're all in there, about to watch the trailers, so in about 20 minutes' time, I'm going to go in there, cruelly wrestle the popcorn back off them, and then measure the results. And we'll see what happens. Later on, we'll be back to see how our cinema goers get on. Back to our 50 snacking cinema goers. How have they been getting on with our behavioural experiment? It's time to find out if the 25 who could only eat with their non-dominant hand really did end up munching less than their glove-free counterparts. Dr. David and I plan to weigh the remaining uneaten popcorn to see which group ate more. On this side, we've got the people who are wearing gloves.
That's right, yes.
On this side, the people who weren't wearing gloves.
That's right.
OK, shall we find out?
Let's go for it.
Let's pour. Well, there's quite a clear result, it seems to me.
Just looking at the two boxes, clearly the people with the gloved hand have eaten significantly less than those whose hands were free to pick and put in the mouth.
In fact, the group eating with their non-dominant hand ate a huge 23% less than our group that had their hands completely free. So actually, theory proved by just removing the dominant hand
Yes.
and forcing people to eat with their non-dominant hand, they do eat less.
What we have shown, if you change in some small way the way in which you're eating, you're more likely to be able to break the snacking habit. And if you break the snacking habit even in a small way, you're going to shed pounds.